Hey guys, it's Arman Nazarian back again, this time with Trayvon Kentrell Coker for the Post Fight Podcast. I think it's our 16th episode. And uh, first of all, I should give you guys apologies for acting a little less energetic today. I'm a little under the weather. Family might have COVID. We're getting tested soon, but yeah, I'm not feeling too great. But the grind never stops. The show must go on. So here we are. We had an amazing fight happen. I mean, just a beautiful Max Holloway. It was some beautiful stuff. Shout out to your boy for watching with me. You know who you are. And yeah, let's get going. Trayvon, you can start with the opening commentary.
No, yes, sir. My goodness, man. Like we have a lot to cover in this episode, way more than I thought we were gonna have to cover beforehand. I was like, man, next week is gonna be such a big episode, but man, I just have a lot of my mind to say. We have, and then we have two cards we have to preview as well. Yeah, like the Wednesday card is it's just there, and that's fine. Sometimes cards are just there. But okay, so, man, okay, yes. So first things first with the Max Holloway and Kattar fight. Probably the best performance in Max Holloway's career in terms of like like lopsidedness. Like I think that was even worse than the Ortega fight, to be honest with you. I would also say probably the best Max Holloway I've ever seen. He looked very good. Added some new things. It was just an excellent performance. I was watching the fight, just dancing around, just like, man, I was just happy. So last week I was talking about how, in my opinion, Max Holloway has the bigger avenues to victory. I did a lot of discussion on how I think he could navigate this fight and how he can win. But I think the main problem was I think I overrated Calvin Kattar, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I think that's the main thing.
So too,
I think I thought he was better and more dangerous than he actually is. And Max Holloway is the type of guy to just press on advantages until you die, like damn near literally. So Calvin Kattar, I was talking about how I thought he should exchange with Max. I still think he should have. I talked about how he can cover distance on Max and land damaging shots on him, which he did like a teeny little bit,
a few
barely.
times,
but, yeah. But man, Calvin Kattar really had. I also talked about how Calvin Kattar has a really good lead hand, but how he uses it to cover ground, to cover distance, to land his big shots, big right hands, and whatnot. But to be honest with you, I think the main dynamic of the fight, just a basic core principle that you can just take away, is that Calvin Kattar has had no ability to stop Max Holloway from pressuring him and to not stop him from putting 1 million punches together at a time. So like, this fight is a very good indicator of who Max Holloway is, and then how if you're not a certain fighter, you just cannot deal with him. Like the fighters that Max Holloway fought that gave him the most trouble in Volkanovski and Poirier recently, that is. Yeah. They're able to punish him on his entries, also press him back a little bit with combos, and stop him from getting his game rolling and rolling and rolling. Because once you're in that fight, you're pretty much just gonna get finished or take a life altering beating. Calvin Kattar had like no retreating jab, no retreating hooks, barely led. Defense wasn't the best. His defense isn't the best, so he can't just sit at range and just let Max Holloway work on him. And especially it's even worse because Max Holloway himself is just such a just disgustingly good offensive fighter. It's ridiculous, man. He mix up his timing, his rhythm, double up on lead hand, double up on shots, feint a rear knee to let just so much stuff you have to deal with him. You can't let him get his game rolling. You just can't. Like, you're just gonna lose that fight.
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous. Like, even Volkanovski in the second fight, and I think Volkanovski lost it. Max Holloway never was able to just safely get flowing. He got stopped after a certain point. You know what I mean? Even in the first 2 rounds where he was doing really good stuff. My goodness, man, you're just in for a terrible beating. And again, I think the main thing is I think I overrated Kattar. Whenever he landed good shots on Holloway. Whenever that was rare. There really isn't much to say positively on his end. I can't really be like, Calvin Kattar could do this or could do that. Nah, he just was outclassed. Like, this is one of the fights where when people say it's normally corny, but they're just levels to it, and Kevin Kattar just not at the level.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that isn't okay. And then when you say levels, man, that isn't just like a video game where it's like I'm level 12 and he's level 10, so all my strikes do +5 damage, and I win every exchange. Like levels in a nuanced fighting sense are Max Holloway can like bring the fight into his area of excellence, and know how to navigate outside of that. Calvin Kattar, he can't do that. He can't when Calvin Kattar's on the back foot, he's just getting punched and kicked and leg kicked and taken down. Oh, not taken down. He's good taken, but he's getting stuff happen to him. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like it's like he can only fight in exchanges that favor him and has no way to bring himself back. Like if Max Holloway's getting pressed, he's a little bit defensively open. Not much better than most fighters, but he can be touched. But at least he'll try to counter off of that. At least he'll stand his ground in exchange to get the space back. Mm-hmm. Like very rarely did they have even exchanges. I was talking about how I think Kattar should be, how he should be exchanging with Max. That's very important because he is the bigger hitter, clearly in my opinion. And he has a craft to exchange with Max. Whenever they would exchange, it was pretty much even. To be honest with you, whenever they would like even work together, it would be even exchange. He should have done that a lot more. He could have got some respect. He could have stopped Holloway from pressing him back as much. But he has nothing to facilitate that game. He can't even keep himself safe on the back foot. He can't even jab as he retreats to give space, to create space, instead of getting fainted out of his pants and then then ran through.
You say fainted out of his pants?
Yes. No, yeah. He just out of his pants, man. But no, yes. I have a little bit more to say, but I don't want to speak for too long, Arman. You can go ahead and share your thoughts. And I'll probably come back.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. So my thoughts aren't going to be as long-winded as Trey's today because I don't know if you guys can tell. I'm really not feeling good. But, one thing that impressed me so much was the addition of the rear leg sidekick. He uses rear leg to the sidekick. He also did a lot of really cool things to fuck with Kattar's timing. Like, even he's always been a feint heavy fighter. But, like, this was Max Holloway plus, right? This was like Max Holloway just getting better and better. One thing I loved was he feinted a jab up top, feinted a jab to the body, got Kattar's hands in this. He was like on purpose, right? He got Kattar to try and parry the jab, then to come down. So he like arced his like body into where his stomach was like in a concavity. And then Max Holloway used that to spin into a back kick and just hit that little like nook that Kattar created for himself. And it was just so much beautiful work. Like our friend asked us, what did Poirier do right? Or like what went wrong for Holloway in the Dustin Poirier fight? It was like it's like you were saying, he did a good job of not letting Holloway lead, like not letting Holloway get into his offensive rhythm, because once he does, it's just an avalanche. You know what I'm saying? It's a snowball that just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And also you told me he could punish Holloway for coming in. Like, you noticed that a few times in this fight, right? Like, he didn't per se punish Holloway for coming. I mean, there wasn't any punishment. And the word isn't correct, but Holloway would work himself into a dynamic where he was able to sit in the pocket with Kattar and just throw punches and punches for free. But every so often, Kattar would sit down by his mouthpiece and just swing, while Holloway was in there. And he would catch him over the top of Holloway's shoulder or something like that. He would catch him while he was jabbing. It kept Holloway honest. And you see Holloway's back at range, jab to the body, double jab, then hook to the body. You know what I'm saying? And then coming back in, like, Poirier could reliably do that. And also, one of the things that helped Poirier so much, and you mentioned that Kattar's actually not the best at this, is that Poirier has really good defense. It's kind of hard to hit him in the head, you know what I'm saying, with his like his shoulder roll and the stonewall things that he does, and him dipping his head. A lot of times Holloway was kind of punching arms, so he kept himself safe where he needed to, and he was able to hurt Max when he was on the lead and kind of keeping Max from swarming him. Kattar didn't do a good job with those things, and to be honest, he just looked kind of lost. His jab wasn't doing anything for him. Like, Holloway was jabbing with him. He's getting on the side of the jab. He's getting to the inside of the jab and throwing punch. Landing combinations from there. A lot of really great work. Like, I can't stress enough how crazy his output was. That in like round 4, he threw like 1,000,000 strikes and then just got right back to. He looked a little tired for a second.
No, I'm sorry, not to interrupt you, man. Like Max the cardio king, but he's tired when he's shooting takedowns a little bit to get a little break.
I saw that. Yeah, I was like, well, that's because
it legit made me chuckle.
After it. Yeah.
It legit made me chuckle because I was like, man, I was like, that's crazy. He's like so tired that he has to take a little takedown to get a little break.
It looked like he thought he was gonna finish Kattar. And
Yeah,
and then Kattar didn't. So he threw the kitchen sink at him. And he's like, okay, actually, he's not gone, and you catch him back. But he got his win back so fast in a kind of incredible fashion. Yeah, I mean he's very good, and he just
No,
looks
yes,
better.
man. Yeah. Like, man, I tweeted this out right after the fight. Maybe a little overreaction. I don't care. It's whatever. I still kind of believe it, man. I said, man, Max Holloway might be the best fighter on the planet right now, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like him and Volk are top tier to me. Like I'm a big Volk fan as well, but Max Holloway might be the best fighter on the planet. Uh, that performance was extremely good. It was a Max Holloway type performance, but man, like the only fight for him at featherweight now is him and Volk. That's it. That's the only guy who can compete with him, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see him and Volk fight a third time. That would be another excellent fight again. Great fight. A fight where actually both guys are getting tested again, which is great. Because Max Holloway got to do whatever he wanted to do in this fight, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
There was nothing there that really, like you said, punished him. Every once in a while he'll get hit with a shot coming in or get hit as he's exchanging, but nothing consistent enough to where it's like he has to actually stop doing what he wants to do. You know what I mean? Like Max Holloway, man, that performance was just excellent. I'm so happy to watch it. It was beautiful. Like you said, all of his tools just played off of each other so insanely well. It was so good. And like I love how his defense is so interconnected with his game. Like again, just purely on the back foot, Max Holloway isn't the best defensive fighter. That's not his defensive game. He's not the best with that. And on his entries themselves, not the best defense. But once he gets exchanges going and once he starts flowing into his combos, his built-in defense is so good. To where guys just can't handle it. Because you'll see him feign out a strike, fall back or slip it, and then come back with a combo just immediately. Or he'll come in with a combo. A guy will come in, will try to exchange with him. And sometimes it's a little bit reckless for him, but then sometimes he's ready for it exactly, and he'll move.
For sure.
I guess on Kattar's end now to speak on him just for a little bit. First of all, tough as death, man. Oh my goodness, that is ridiculous. I honestly don't know how he didn't get knocked out like 16 times in that fight.
He should have done, yeah.
Okay, Max, I would dare to say for an elite fighter, he's pretty pillow fisted. That doesn't mean you just can't. Yeah, that doesn't mean you just can't like walk through his shots. Obviously not. But like, he's not the like. You see his fights. He has so much volume because he doesn't put guys away. Like if Volkanovski was hitting people that much, they'd just be asleep.
Yeah.
Or if like Aldo or Chad Mendes or I don't even probably say somebody like Zabit, to be honest with you. Well, Zabit hasn't really shown that much power either. But you know, like
I would say he probably hits softer than Max. Yeah.
But no, Max, he's not that much of a hitter. But even still, man, the amount of volume that got pressed on Kattar, man, that is ridiculous how he was able to survive that. Also with like legit damaging strikes like the elbows. Don't know how he didn't get put out with some of the head kicks. Don't know how he didn't get put out.
He was about to go out a lot. I mean, he was wobbling.
By the end of like, I was saying this in my head in round two. In round two, I was like, I already knew Kattar was tough. I was like, okay, Kattar has a great chin. He's gonna get put to sleep. I was like, there's no way he can survive this. Then by the time round 4 came, I was like, he's gonna go down. He's gonna go down. He didn't even get dropped in this fight, which is
no, he did. I think it was off balance. He got hit with something as he was leg kicking.
Oh yeah, I'm not really gonna count that. He came right back up. But yes, like in my opinion, I'm like extreme. I don't know how he was able to survive that. His corner should have stopped the fight. Herb Dean should have stopped the fight. I don't know why they didn't do that. But he needs to take a long time off. Yeah, he needs to take a really long time off, and that's that. But Holloway, put him in there with Volk, or make him move to 55, or I want to see him beat up Zabit. Other than that, that's fine.
Yeah, he would too.
Like I really hope Ortega doesn't beat Volk, for one, because I like Volk, and then two, because I don't want to see Holloway fight Volk. I mean, I don't want to see Holloway fight Ortega again. I already seen that fight. It's gonna be the exact same thing that happened again.
Yeah, sure.
I don't really care for that fight. Me personally, I don't really care for that fight. Him fighting Volk or him going to 155. So that's what I have to say about that fight. I try to cut it keep short because there's a lot to say. I don't want to be long-winded.
For sure.
Even though I was long-winded.
You're good. You're eating up some of my time today, which is good because I'm fucking about to die. But
no, it's fine.
Before this, we had I was wrong about Condit and
I was too.
Matt Brown, but it was. I mean, Condit looked good against Matt Brown, who looked good in round 1, and then kind of the momentum swung, and it was a good. I don't honestly have too much to say about it other than 2 old guys fought and one of them was younger.
Yeah, like for an old person fight, man, it was not bad. You know what I mean? I was watching the fight. I was like, these guys look like themselves, but bad versions of themselves. And so, like, that's kind of all you can kind of really, that's
Count
all you can
on.
kind of really care for in a fight like that. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Like, they're both old. They've both been fighting for like 600-700 years combined. They both taking a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Like, they both just look like themselves. I had a reasonable time smiling as I was watching it. No, yeah. So we'll get on to Liang and Santiago Ponzinibbio. No, like I say, I said I thought Ponz was gonna win. But he's been off for a while, and Lee is dangerous in the pocket and hits pretty hard. And that's about that. I'm going to combine this with the first fight, like the same theme of the first fight of the evening with I'm not gonna lie, I can't really say the names, but the Hawaiian guy and then the bald guy, the first fight on the main card. And like it's people getting caught as they're leaning, like very bad leans. Like again, our friend asked John, he asked like how come like these guys are getting knocked the hell out while they're leading and doing things like that, and like people like Muhammad Ali or Izzy don't get touched as they're leaning, and it's because these guys are leaning like from extremely close in, and they don't have defensive reactions when things are like when the exchanges get deeper. Like Izzy will lean, and I mean sometimes he'll be out of position, like but it's pretty rare. Like if he leans and people step too close to him, he'll like start to angle off and pivot or turn or something like that, or make another hard defensive reaction. So that way he's just not stuck out of position. But like with Ponzinibbio, he threw the right hand and then just pulled back super hard, but he was way too close to be pulling back. And then also, I don't even think he saw the punch coming because he was so close, and he was just trying to dash out of range instead of keeping his eyes on target and having better defensive reactions. And also, it's like just a lot of little bad things that Ponzinibbio did with his leans that got him straight put to sleep. And the same thing with the other guy in the first fight of the main card. He was leaning too much, and then just got straight put down like multiple times because it was just bad defense. And like unfortunately, like a lot of guys will be like, oh man, that's why you can't move your head and that's why you can't slip things in MMA, man, or whatnot. It's like no, these guys are just not good at it.
Watch Israel Adesanya do it.
Yeah, like I mean like exactly, you know what I mean? These guys just aren't that good at it. That's why they're getting hit really hard and knocked out because they're leaning unnecessarily. And lastly on this card, I guess we got to go over like our boy Buckley getting knocked the hell out.
Yeah.
Because I think this is just, I mean, like, okay, hopefully Buckley can use this as a learning experience. Yes, we talked about his flaws in the episodes prior. He said, okay, he's not a developed fighter yet. He's fighting guys that he should be fighting. If he loses, they're learning opportunities. Still not really good that he's getting head kicked.
That's bad.
Yeah, you would. I'd rather you lose getting like grinded out decision. That's a good prospect loss. Maybe even getting submitted.
Yeah.
But and then Alessio isn't a finisher like that either, man. He was on a 3-fight losing streak. It's not a good look. Hopefully Buckley isn't a guy. This happens to a lot of people, and it kind of annoys me. They'll get a random super cool ass knockout, or they have power, and they get like some cool finishes or a cool finish, and it drives the hype way more than it should be. Like I said, I can see some reasonable like potential out of Buckley, man. Like he dips into range a little recklessly sometimes, which got him head kicked. He works the body. He has power, obviously. You know what I mean?
He's very fast. He can get into range really fast.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But like
he's not using it correctly. You know what I'm saying? He's not deciding when he's just doing it. Anytime he throws offense, it's usually that.
Yes, it's like he's gonna have to develop more as a fighter, get better. Otherwise, his career is gonna be that guy that hits hard. He's gonna be like a worse Uriah Faber. My bad, not Uriah Faber. Uriah Hall. He's gonna be a worse Uriah Hall if he just kind of stays where he's at. Which happens to a lot of fighters, man. Like getting really cool and mean KOs can be kind of the worst thing that ever happened to you. It can really
when you're
it can be the worst
up.
thing that yes, it can be some of the worst things that happen to you in multiple ways. First of all, you kind of rely on your power too much. You're like, man, I can knock anybody out. I can just do whatever I want. Also, it hypes you up unnecessarily and all that. And even this fight, man, he didn't even have like a stiff test in my opinion. Again, I said Alessio, not a bad. I mean, he's just an all around fighter. He's not terrible. He just kind of a there fighter to me.
Yeah.
I assumed there was gonna be a fight that Buckley could just get in the range, hit him a little bit, hurt him a little bit, win a decision. But in this fight, like I don't know, man, he just got domed, and like that's just
early too. Yeah.
no, yeah, that's pretty much that, man. Like I don't have much to say about the rest of the card. It was just there. Uh, man, like I say, Max Holloway with a great performance. So we'll quickly preview this Chiesa Magni card. Uh, so I guess we'll go top down. From Chiesa Magni.
Well,
Uh,
okay. How many important fights are there on this card? Like, what's the number?
like
Let's see. Okay.
one. No, yeah, we'll just talk about the main event really quickly, and then get on to the Poirier McGregor card, which is good. Which is something that we want to talk about. In my opinion, I think Chiesa is going to lose to Magny. I just feel like Chiesa is going to clinch with him, and he's going to lose in that fight. Also, both of them are like tall man strikers, but like I would say in the bad way.
Yeah.
And I think Neil Magny is a better tall man striker. He'll at least like pump out a jab. He moves a lot more. He gives a lot of volume out there.
Yeah.
Chiesa at 155 used to be a gasser. I'm not so much sure at 170 because that cut probably is much less. Because he used to be an enormous 155er.
He used to look like the fucking guy from He-Man.
Dude, I don't know how I don't know how him or James Vick ever even somehow made 155.
What's the Skeletor? He used to like Skeletor. That's what he used to look like.
I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know how that's physically possible how they made that.
I don't know what they got rid of.
Cardio so far at 170 is looking
reasonable.
Good. Yeah, but I think Maggie's gonna win. He's gonna just start pumping out punches on him. Just put a lot of volume on him. Yeah. Chiesa's gonna clinch up with him, and then Maggie's just gonna kind of wrestle, grind him a little bit, wear him out. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it for this fight. I don't know if it's 5 rounds or not. I kind of don't. If it's 5 rounds, I'm definitely picking Magny. I will say, like I said, I like Magny as a fighter, man. I don't know, like it's a lot of reasons to hate Magny. I like him, man, because he's effective and like he knows what he has to do in his fight.
What are the reasons to hate him? I don't know much about him.
Say it again.
What are the reasons to hate him? I don't know much about him.
I mean, because he kind of like people say he's boring. I can understand.
Oh, if they meant like as a human being.
Oh,
like a Colby Covington.
No. No, like I mean, he's really nice too. Like
that's what I thought.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
But no, as a fighter, yeah, he's just kind of there. He just kind of like pumps out punches, doesn't really hurt nobody.
Yeah, for sure.
Clinches up with people, kind of just grinds them out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, I think Magny and Chiesa are gonna be a fun fight to watch. And yeah, that's about that. Hey, a guy from Houston, I don't know if you know him, Isaac Villanueva. He's fighting on the main card.
Heard of him?
Yeah.
You mean Ike?
Yeah. Yeah. So he's fighting on the main card. He's fighting somebody not very good. So I hope he wins this fight because the guy he's fighting is bad. He's just bad.
I mean, look at that guy. That guy looks like a. Oh Jesus. Yeah.
But that's about all we gotta say for the card. Also my baby girl Roxy, matter of fact, she's fighting. I don't think she's gonna win though. I don't think she's gonna win because she's fighting Viviane Aranjo.
We gotta pause for a second.
She's gonna ass beat her. I think she's gonna ass beat her.
We gotta pause for a second. I think the prescription grade 800 milligram ibuprofen I took just kicked in because I'm starting to feel better. So
that's great, man.
Yeah, we can get into it. Like I'm gonna be more. Dude, I'm not gonna lie, you guys. I was thinking I was trying to focus on Trayvon because I was feeling alright today, and then my mom was like, "I got a fever." I was just chilling yesterday, and she comes to sit on my bed and talk to me, and then she's talking, and she's just talking, and she goes, "Oh yeah, I think I've been getting sick," and I'm like, "You're within 2 feet of me. What are you doing?" So I started feeling bad this morning, and my mom was like, "I got a fever. It's 100." And then I was up and down. And as the night, the day progressed, I started feeling kind of shit. And then I was as Trayvon's talking, I'm thinking to myself, okay, keep your eyes open, process the words, say what you think. And I was actually about to be like, you're gonna have to finish the rest on your own, brother. But I took a giant ass ibuprofen, and so it healed me or something for for a few minutes, for a couple hours. I was thinking I need to pass out. I'm gonna go to bed. Trayvon, the rest is all you.
No, I can see it too, man. I was like, oh damn,
he's gonna die.
I was like, let me just speak. Let me just come on speaking.
I know. I was like, please keep going. I was like, fill the time. But I feel good.
No, it's lucky because I had a lot to say anyway.
Yeah,
I was like, damn, this is what I heard.
Dude, when you said we're previewing, this is gonna be so funny to include in the podcast. This is gonna be a really human moment. But when you said we're gonna talk about the Dustin McGregor card, I was like, oh god, no. I was like, no, we're talking about the. All right, because I have stuff to say about it, but I didn't know if I had the wherewithal. You know what I'm saying? I was like, McGregor left straight. Dustin, hands up. But I feel good. So Yeah. Anyway, so back to what you were saying. You think that Roxanne Modafferi is gonna get like what, just run down by this woman's athleticism?
Yes, pretty much yes. And oh my goodness, I don't want to see that. But
She's such a sweet
yeah, that's
woman.
probably. I
She sometimes
I just
rises
love
to
her
the
so much.
occasion, bro. Like sometimes she be out here like everyone thinks she's gonna lose to the bad Valentina, and then she does. She works her.
I still okay. This fight, okay, it really doesn't mean much in the grand scheme of things. It really don't. But
Just
to
for her
this,
fans.
I think forever, I will always love her fight against Macy Barber, man.
Yeah,
She just beat the hell
beat
out
the
of her, bro.
fook out of her.
Even before she tore her ACL, she just beat the hell out of her.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
I was like, oh my gosh, man, that was just, it almost brought a tear to my eye watching that performance. I was like, oh my goodness, that was just
It really
excellent.
was. It really was.
But okay, so we'll get on to the Poirier McGregor 2 now. Now that Arman is good, he can lead now. You can go ahead and
Uh,
speak what you want to say.
Poirier McGregor too. Shout out to my neighbor actually, Alan. But basically, okay. So what we can extrapolate from the day? I'm gonna go ahead and assume that the McGregor we're seeing right now is somewhere between where he was in the Cerrone fight and in the Alvarez fight. I don't think we'll ever see as good a McGregor again as we saw against Eddie Alvarez. That was probably the best McGregor we've ever seen, right? He was just so sharp in that fight. Now, that being said, like let's just assume like the things McGregor does, that he's doing them at least 80 to 90% capacity, and that Poirier is probably going to come in looking as good as he can. You know what I'm saying? Um, it's a southpaw versus southpaw matchup, so I'm going to talk big picture here. What's the difference between this fight and the first fight? Well, for one of the exploitable facets of Poirier's game at the time was his one-note approach to defending offense. It was this. It was posting with his hand and bringing up the lead hand like this. So McGregor eventually just punched around it and caught him behind the ear because McGregor made that read. All of his straights were being blocked by Poirier's forearm. That's not so much going to be as accessible to McGregor anymore, right? Like Poirier is a lot smarter fighter now. He's got a lot better defense. He tucks the head. He kind of moves his head better. He can also jab considerably better now than he did before. And he'll still do this, but he doesn't nearly as often throw himself out of position when he's throwing combinations. Like he will really overextend on an overhand left and then shift into an overhand right, like really hard, right? That like if McGregor is super sharp and not tired, he can spring out of range and then throw like a left straight counter. You know, that's always going to be a possibility. I still think this fight is fought on like very similar margins as the last fight because they're still who they are. You know what I'm saying? Like when we say Max Holloway has evolved and gotten a lot better, he didn't go from being Max Holloway to Khabib. You know, he was always been Max Holloway, but the layers of complexity increased over the fundamental identity of his as a fighter. So that's still going to be the thing. Now, what do I think like Poirier would need to do in order to win this fight? I think if Poirier is defensively responsible, he doesn't overcommit, and I would say one thing Eddie Alvarez had a lot of success with was working the inside leg kick. I know they're going to be in the, I don't know, because they're going to be in this, they're going to be in close stances with each other. I would honestly think, okay, Poirier knows how to jab, right? He can probably keep himself safe in exchange where he doesn't overcommit. He needs to not let himself be pressured. Like he's a pressure fighter. He uses his presence to get you close to the fence. You either have to commit to attacking him and then he counters, or you need to move one way or the other and he'll just hit you while you're against the fence. I mean, it's sort of like textbook McGregor on his P's and Q's. So if I were Dustin Poirier, I would make a heavy use of my jab and my feints, right? And try and get McGregor working early off of that, and try not to overcommit and get into exchanges that favor McGregor's offensive counterpunching, right? Like, I don't know. It's going to require a very disciplined effort by Dustin Poirier. Kick the legs, jab with him. Don't overextend. Don't lead too much, and don't allow yourself to be super pressured. I think if you are going to close the distance, you need to do it intelligently and like responsibly. Like you can't just run in. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't get to these firefight moments like you did with Dan Hooker, where you swing really hard over and then your hands are completely down. You swing again. You know what I'm saying? Because those are the types of things McGregor, especially a fresh, non-fatigue McGregor, counts on in order for him to be able to snipe you at range. You know, so that would be my thing. I don't have a super developed game plan for how I would think Poirier would beat McGregor. Other than that, it would be like making safe decisions, jabbing with him, exploiting his tendency, you know, to spring back and counter until you can get him kind of working. You know, once you get him working, if you need to close the distance, do it intelligently. Jab your way in. Don't overextend. Don't let him trick you into leading. And give him things to worry about. I would say kicking the leg is also very important. What about you? You probably have a more developed thesis.
No, oh no, you actually did a very good job on that. No, just okay. your points were all very good, man. I agree, like in the sense of like like Poirier needs to be disciplined. Obviously, he can't be reckless. He can't do things, put himself in danger. But the thing is, I don't know how his game
I think
and a winning approach
yeah, yeah,
functions without that stuff.
yeah,
Like I don't know how he's supposed to win.
exactly.
Even if he fights the even if he fights the fight that you say, I don't know how he's gonna win that fight like consistently, in my opinion, because his winning ways are like creating exchanges. He's really good within his exchanges, but like he's gonna have to cover ground against McGregor to be able to land shots on him, so that way Poirier can actually
Mhm.
win the fight himself.
Yep,
He's
yep.
gonna have to. He's gonna kind of have to get into exchanges, so Poirier can actually win the fight himself.
Well,
Also,
that's the
McGregor
thing.
will,
Like McGregor, I mean, I'm sorry to interrupt you. The thing, like
oh,
even
no,
in
it's
his
fine.
success against Max Holloway, a lot of the damage he did, especially the early damage, came from really extending. You know, I mean, from backing Holloway up. But like you said, like, and it was like he was doing like the clean boxing thing with defending himself really well and then jabbing, but then he would explode into like these kind of semi reckless, like really shift stancey punches. But like that is kind of what works on Max Holloway, or worked in that context, but it's almost what McGregor counts on, and it's what he's going to use his presence, with his hands not coming forward to. Not that his hands down is essential to getting you to do that. I was just saying what he does. But that he wants that from you. He's kind of counting on you doing that. So I see what your point is what I'm getting at.
But yeah, like no, yeah, good points again. Like I find not. I mean, it's not impossible for Dustin. He's improved much more. He's still a very big hitter in the pocket. He still has a lot more craft to be able to handle himself a lot more. And man, I'm just not comfortable in him like fighting any way that I've seen him fight.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's not even like there's no version of him that I've seen that makes me say against Conor like he should just do this and then he could flow into success. I mean, nothing consistent in my opinion. Like even if he kicks at McGregor and kicks his legs, which I think will be effective. I think he should do that. Kick his body, kick up, kick at him a lot. McGregor won't just sit there at a kicking range and just let him kick at him for free. McGregor will be kicking back, and McGregor's the better kicker.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
McGregor might not even have the best kick defense, but flowing, he'll be kicking with him, so it just makes things a lot more contested in that range. And McGregor's kicks flows into his offense. Dustin Poirier's kicks kind of
well.
Yeah, and then Dustin Poirier's kicks are kind of just there to be there.
Yeah.
I say I really want Poirier to win. McGregor fight. I've seen enough of McGregor already. Like he's an all-time great.
He really is
one of the best fighters I've ever seen.
He really is, and you can't deny it, even though I don't like him very much. It's crazy. My veracity, my vitality is back. I'm talking like you, but no. Even though I don't like him very much, I was talking to a buddy of mine yesterday, who he's a casual, but he's just he's trying to get into it, I guess, because it's so important to me. And he was saying like, until recently, until I started like actually kind of watching it more with you, I thought McGregor was just like some really cocky guy who's really bad. Like, no. You understand? Like a focused McGregor. I hate buying into that. Oh, there's two McGregors. There's a unfocused and a focused. There's no polarity there. Like McGregor is McGregor, and he's obviously going to be better when he's preparing, like better. But like him versus Khabib is still him versus Khabib. It's not like It's not like McGregor. It's not like your dad versus Khabib and then McGregor versus Khabib. You know what I'm saying? Like he would have done better, but it's still him. Like it's still him and how he fights. Anyway, but I was saying like no. Actually, Conor McGregor is very, very good. Like the best McGregor we've seen, like that 2015 to the end of 2016 era McGregor was very, very good, and he fought everyone in 145.
No, yes, I say this all the time to people, and it's like I say like in another universe, there's a McGregor who's a GOAT contender because he's just there's a McGregor that like has like built his game more consistently, fights people that like defends his title in a way that allows him to like grow his game and like takes better fights and doesn't lose to Diaz. That's still a very embarrassing loss. Sorry, that's just a bad loss. Like that's losing to Diaz. That's just too. I'm sorry. That shouldn't happen. I'm sorry. As an elite fighter, you shouldn't be losing to Diaz.
No. But he's like the litmus test, right? Like, are you? Yeah.
Yes. No. Yes.
And even their second fight was a hard fought. I mean, their second fight was close. Yeah.
Yes. I said there's a McGregor who's a GOAT contender. Not saying that this McGregor is just like leagues below what he could be at this peak. Like I think this McGregor at his peak is as good of a fighter as I've ever seen. Top 10 to me, he's a top 10 pound all time.
Yeah.
Top 10. I have to sort my list. But top 10, no doubt about it. I think he has the greatest one of all time in that first Jose Aldo fight, or the only Jose Aldo fight. I think some of his performances are some of the best performances I've ever seen.
Yeah.
At his peak, an insane fighter. Again, like you said, I don't know what I'm assuming he's gonna look like. I'm just gonna assume he's gonna be a competent professional fighter in this fight.
Yeah.
And if he's a competent professional fighter, man, I kind of don't know how Dustin's gonna win. Like, unless McGregor is just a shell of himself,
No.
or just can't do anything consistently. Yeah, but I can't really assume that. And in this case, Poirier, like I say, if he works behind his jab, I think he just get countered. Even if it's he has a good jab, but it's not good enough to me not to get countered. If he tries to create exchanges, which he kind of should do because that's how he wins, he's just gonna get sniped.
It's just really dangerous. Yeah, I mean, he's got to find some way to reduce the efficacy of McGregor's just striking like Khabib did, where he was creating exchanges in round 3, but they weren't dangerous for him anymore. But I don't know how he's gonna do that. Is my point. Yeah.
Like, at least Khabib had tired McGregor out by that point.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, at least by then, because Khabib, he still. I mean, I think he still lost a round in my opinion. He lost a round.
He did. He lost round 3.
But it wasn't even like. It wasn't even like. It didn't matter.
It wasn't a round that you were upset about losing. It's just a round.
Yeah, it's like, okay. Yeah, it's like, oh, whatever. You know what I mean?
That's precisely my point. Is that when, and I invoke Khabib all the time, but I mean that's like even Nate Diaz. Let's look at that. The first, that's a different dynamic. But whatever the case is, like in McGregor's 2 losses in the UFC, he lost them and got finished after his best, like after something happened that expended the resources he has to facilitate or implement his game. In the first fight, like with Diaz, he wasn't being as like cautious. He was like the really in your face hitting a lot. In the second fight with him, he wasn't as much. He was doing the Eddie Alvarez thing where he's springing back and countering. But in both cases, in both of those fights, even the one he won, right? He wasn't able to get him out of there, right? And so in that case, he really just sort of punched or worked himself out. You know what I'm saying? Whereas in the Khabib fight, Khabib did the working. But either way, he got the juice that McGregor has to fuel his rounds 1, 2, and however long type of fight. It just wasn't. It wasn't there by that time, and that's kind of how. Like if Khabib fought round 3, like he fought in round 1, like he did in round 3, that would have not have worked. I don't think it would have been it would have been.
Yeah, just when it worked.
Yeah, no, no. I mean, you just got hit really hard, and probably at one point finished, But what can Dustin Poirier, in my opinion, do to make that happen? I don't know that it's built into his game to safely get that from McGregor. Like he has to engage in these exchanges, which I think favor Conor, like you're saying.
Exactly. Unlike Max, who will bring back. Max has a chin and a fake chin. For all the power Max Holloway doesn't have, he used all those points to go to his chin, which I think is a great great trade off in my opinion. Having a great chin is just so unfair.
It really is.
And the cardio. So not only can Max play with the range and fight with McGregor like that, he also has a chin to just withstand the punishment and the cardio to withstand it. As much as Dustin cardio is awesome, and as much as his durability and his cardio itself is great, I just don't know he's the type of fighter that can withstand that type of punishment. Creating exchanges, fighting a guy who can match him in those exchanges, exceed him in those exchanges mainly, and a guy who just hits like a truck. Like I don't, man. Again, your assessment of Dustin was really really good. Really, really good, and just basic stuff like, okay, you need to do this, keep yourself safe. I just don't even know. I don't really know how he can win this fight. Like his avenues of victory. I don't really know what he does other than creating an exchange that's kind of sloppy, hurts McGregor, or McGregor showing up a little faded, and he can't get his shots off, or even if he does, it's not hard enough to finish Dustin, and Dustin can come back.
I don't like that. I think Dustin's finishable. He is
exactly, yeah. And I mean, like. It obviously could happen, you know what I mean? But I just can't assume that. And I just, quite simply, man, I want Dustin to win. Again, McGregor is great for the sport, brought a lot of people in, one of the best fighters of all time. But I've seen enough of him. And my opinion, again, I don't really want to see him as champion because I feel like he's going to be champion if he wins this fight. They're either going to give him a title fight, or maybe I'll just put the belt on him. So I don't really want to see McGregor as champion. I feel like that's already kind of played out.
Look, here's what John Tran said it best. I mean, we can conclude our portion of our opinions of him as champion with this. John Tran, we shout him out all the time. He's like the old vice president of the club. Trayvon and I both ran. He graduated. Congrats. But go Cougs. But McGregor's gonna hold the belt and put it. He's gonna win the belt. put it on hold for a year, and then sell out an arena boxing Jake Paul. That's what he said. Have fun, 155. I'm selling out an arena with Jake Paul. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, like man, if McGregor if he defended his title, I wouldn't have any problems with it. You know what I mean? Like he's a champion, that's cool. He's keeping the 155 division running. I just don't really trust him. I don't trust him. He's going you say he's gonna fight Jake Paul, maybe fight Manny Pacquiao right after that. Do something. You know what I mean?
And I want to just say, something. Someone asked me, one of my casual. I don't actually have that many like friends. Like Trayvon's like my only like good buddy who's involved in MMA, like and knows about it, right? Like I got all my friends and shit into it, but someone was like, "But Logan Paul's really big. You think he'd beat Conor?" I'm like, listen. It doesn't matter how big Logan Paul is. A shit boxer. Conor would destroy Logan Paul however he wanted. And they're like, but Floyd Mayweather. I'm like, Floyd Mayweather would even worse. He would swallow Logan Paul. They're like, but he like looked up comparisons. Was like, this boy kind of big. I'm like, it doesn't matter. This isn't a wrestling competition. This is not a strongman competition. They're boxing. He's gonna exhaust himself. Floyd Mayweather is gonna beat the shit out of him however he wants. However he fucking wants. You know. And I was talking to like my larger friend who I sparred with and just pieced him up. I'm like, buddy. Remember when we sparred? You're like 40 pounds heavier than me. I'm not Floyd Mayweather or McGregor. It's like I almost killed you. Okay, imagine what Floyd Mayweather is gonna do when you're not allowed to kick or clinch to some YouTuber like who just casually does it for money. You know what I'm saying? I had to say that. I'm sorry. If any of our fans think Logan Paul has any kind of chance to get, the only professional fighter who any of the Pauls could beat in a boxing match is Ben fucking Askren. That's the only one. Because Ben Askren said, I accept your challenge. Ben Askren sucks at striking. He would lose. Ben Askren would lose. If Jake Paul, the better of the two, boxed with Ben Askren, somehow he'd find a way to get knocked out. I swear to God. But that's it. That's the only one. I'll give you that. Someone was like, what about Michael Bisping? He's old and Michael Bisping would faint. He would jab any of the Pauls up. Michael Bisping's a good boxer. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Anyway, so I had to get that out of my way.
No, yes, like I'm like again, I think we talked about this like in private, but not really much on the stream. We'll talk about it a little bit. But like a lot of people that like have these opinions, they just never been in fights.
They've never
been in a fight, yeah, and like that's kind of important. Like
you really need to know what it's like.
Like as a bigger guy, when you like fight somebody good, you don't even like process that you're bigger. You're just like,
oh yeah, good way to put it.
I'm losing. You're just like, I'm getting beat up. Like your size doesn't really matter. Like size only matters when you're like fighting somebody that's good. Or if you're good and you know what I mean, and you can like.
It matters when you can equalize things, right? Like
yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like if there's like a certain like gap that you're close enough to, but that gap you have to be like to the gap. Well, it's small.
The only time where size can truly really equalize these gaps is like if Mighty Mouse and Bob Sapp were to fight. Like the thing is, if Bob Sapp grabbed Mighty Mouse and just lifted him and threw him, you know, in a Kattar, like he's just so much bigger. Mighty Mouse is so small, but like or like the Mountain, the guy Bjorn, Hafthor Bjorn's son, that guy were to like fight like a purple belt amateur, like some 145.
Regional.
You know what I'm saying? Like then that makes it. But those are such giant extremes, and we're talking about giant extremes.
Yes. Also, not only the giant, they're like also like some of the strongest people on the planet. They at least have they at least have like athletic, insane like.
They're not just naturally big. Like a part of their size is coming from a very concerted effort to be that big.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's like they're strong. Like they built themselves to be a certain type of strength. Like Jake Paul. I mean, like I'm pretty sure compared to the average person, he's stronger than the average person. But like the gap,
dude, you would fuck him up. And if Jake Paul and I would just take him down and just choke him. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't know what he's saying. He doesn't matter. Yeah,
like Thor and like Bob Sapp, they're like strong men. You know what I mean? They're like Thor's the strongest guy on the planet. You know what I mean?
One of them, like at one point, like Brian Shaw, those guys. You know what I'm saying? This giant.
Yeah, exactly.
But if Edgar Adesanya fought with Thor, Adesanya, who's the size difference is not that extreme, he would just piece the fuck out of him. You know
he would just kick him in the head and like kill him. You know what I mean? But like again, they say like that's stuff like again, you guys have to get in there. You know what I mean? Like train with somebody that's like freaking like 5'6", 5'4", 120 pounds. Like roll with him, and you'd be like, this guy does not feel like 5'6", 120 pounds.
No,
I feel like a truck is sitting on me. You know what I mean?
You don't even realize that you're bigger at that point. Like you don't even it doesn't even make sense to you that you're bigger. You forget about it. You're just like, I'm getting hit.
Like spar with a good guy striker who's like freaking like 5'4", who you have like a freaking like 10-inch reach advantage on, and watch him jab you up, and you'd be like, what's going on?
It's like this. It's like, imagine it like this. You are racing your friend in a car, and you're given like some beautiful new car with the, I mean, you've got a fucking Lamborghini, and they've got some old Volvo from 2001, but you just don't know how to drive.
Hey
It
man, I
literally.
got 2002 Volvos. Hey. That was some disrespect right
All
there.
right, I'm sorry, homie. My bad. But okay, I've never been taught to drive. Okay, I don't got hands. I can't drive. Something I don't want to be disrespectful to disabled people, but you know what I'm saying. I can't drive. I've never been taught to drive. Who's gonna win the race? I can't even get my car started. It doesn't matter how big you are or how athletic you are. You just don't know what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's a good point. Like, I was complaining hella about this to you the other day because of something someone said to me. I was like, and like, yeah, like I'm like, you fought amateur. You know, I haven't done that, but I've been in like 6 like school fights.
You train enough. Yeah.
And street fights, you know what I'm saying? Like I've been a couple. I mean, I've had some stupid fights I've been in. They weren't all. None of them were against like trained people, but that was scary. I'm just fucking sidewalking shit. You know what I'm saying? When the reality of violence strikes you, like when someone's hitting you and they're not apologizing and they're not like, "Is you okay?" Like that's different. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a whole different ballgame. It's kind of frightening. So you
also, man, when you feel like a skill gap too, man, that's not very fun. Like
no.
When you're like a even if you trained right, even though you have a knowledge, when you face somebody that's just like a certain tier better than you, like when you fight somebody when I was sparring you, when
I was sparring you, right? Like I was like nothing. I have things I go to when I spar people who are worse. I like jab feint, then hook or hook off my jab. You know what I'm saying? I throw those cheat kicks I throw where I'll like fake a low kick and then come up. You know the things I was doing to you. It was like this was my scope of knowledge, right? It was like this 2-dimensional circle, and your scope of knowledge and experience. It occupied the space filled by a sphere, so you can just see it from all angles. It's very stressful. You know what I'm saying? It's like nothing I'm doing working, so I'm just frozen here. You know what I'm saying? It's not a fun thing. It's just, you're just there. You have to lose. I mean, there's no option. But if that's what you were getting at, then yeah, sorry to interrupt.
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was just saying, man, when you fight somebody with a big skill gap over you, man, you're like, oh, like you have that like that little thought in your mind. You're like, whoa. This is not good. You know what I mean? You're like,
yeah. You're like, fuck.
This is not ideal. I'm gonna have to do something. Don't really know what, but something's gotta come up. You know what I mean?
You know what? I think when that happens, I gotta put more hours in. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm not gonna beat this guy soon. This is about to be something I put on a list, and in 5 years we're gonna see. You know exactly. 5 years we're gonna see.
Exactly.
You know?
Like either you gotta do that, or if you're in a fight like Calvin Kattar, you gotta tough it out and just try to fight back.
Take your L. I mean, yeah, but I mean, I mean, what could he do? He swung. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's all he could do. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But no, okay, yeah. So we'll get into the So our predictions for the Conor McGregor, the Conor and Poirier fight. Man, I don't see Dustin winning. I have Conor 2nd, 3rd round KO. I think it's gonna be kind of sad too. I want Dustin to win. If Conor looks good though, it's gonna be okay fight for me to watch. Like I'm not gonna be sad if Conor looks good and does what he does. I'm gonna be a little sad, but I'm at least see a great fighter perform greatly. But I think Dustin's gonna just kind of get slow, but slowly for like McGregor standards, but slowly just chip down and then chip down more and then just bam.
I think we'll see the wheels slowly fall off. Yeah.
Yes. And I think I see McGregor win this fight, unless something really weird happens or something drastic that out of both fighters that we haven't seen before happens. And man, I do not want to see that. But I might do it if McGregor looks good.
I gotta go with the same prediction. It's not that so I've ran this over in my head and I've watched a lot of his recent fights, and it's like there are spaces where Poirier could win, but I don't know if he gets them, like we talked about, gets Conor to that point before the wheels fall. It's hard for me to imagine. I got my fingers crossed though. I want Poirier to win. I like Poirier. Yeah, we'll see what happens, and I'm excited. Now we'll talk about Michael Chandler versus Dan Hooker. Well, here's you can agree with me on this because I kind of want to plan out what we're gonna do for the rest of the thing.
No, you can talk about it.
I think the plan for us is gonna be Arman Tsarukyan, that's right, Haqparast, Dan Hooker. Ottman Azatar looked good in his last fight, but I don't. If you want to talk about it, we can.
We can just talk about Hooker and the Hooker fight and the
Arman fight. Okay, so that's our schedule, guys. I'll definitely clip this down to get some of the negotiating out of the way. But yeah. So now for the Dan Hooker fight versus Michael Chandler, you can take it away.
Okay. So this fight is very. I don't know, man. I don't know how to. I'm having a hard time kind of gauging this fight right now. It's good to me. It's a good fight, good matchmaking. But the way these guys match up, it's just weird. I don't really know how how it's gonna work. Uh, like Chandler cover distance is really hard, really really hard.
Yeah.
He does a lot of things, works the body, kicks the body, throws good overhands, which I think could be a positive for him.
Against Hooker?
Hits like a truck, works consistently. He does a lot of things. And Hooker himself, I think he'll be there to exchange with Chandler. I just don't really know how those exchanges will go. Like, I'm just this fight is very confusing for me. I think, and to give my opinion, I think Michael Chandler will do a lot of lunging in, good range work to get himself to close the gap. Work the body a little bit, work some takedowns.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll gas because he almost always does that.
Almost always does. Pace. Yeah.
But I think Hooker will gas with him.
That's funny. Yeah.
Like I think this fight will kind of look like some of the fights Hooker had at featherweight, which is funny though because almost all the featherweights he fought were like enormous as well, and that he lost to were like enormous as well. But also Hooker could be a type of guy to like walk into a knee or just get pinned at range and get clipped with something. I think not Hooker, Chandler. And I think Chandler's chin is waning on him. His athleticism is waning on him. Still very good.
He's getting older though.
But I really don't know how this fight will like play out. Again, like I'll give my opinion. I think Chandler will win. I think he'll win. Trading exchanges, getting some wrestling done, tiring Hooker out with him.
It's a 3-round fight. That's right.
Yeah. It is a 3-round fight, and again, I guess causing exchanges and his shots do more damage. But man, it's a 50-50 fight for me right now. It's kind of hard for me to describe like my thought process on this fight.
You know, I don't know. Hooker's got a good jab, and one thing he does, like all the city kickboxing guys, he'll throw really good, like, but he doesn't just randomly like always just like throw the low leg kicks out there, right? Like he does a thing where he'll jab with you, he'll parry a lot of your your jabbing hand with his rear hand, and then he'll use that to convince you to come in, and then when he does that, he jabs you, or he throws he'll like offset your entry with like a low leg kick. I think if you can get Chandler playing those games with him, to be honest, I think he can catch Chandler out. I think what will, if anything, does equalize the striking for Chandler is like because he will like burst into range with overhands and also wrestle him. I don't think just running into range with overhands unless he catches him early and finishes him early is like a reliable thing to keep going to, unless of course he works in like clinch work and wrestles him, pushes him. I see Chandler like pushing him hard to the fence with like both hands behind the butt, picking him up and putting him down. You know, if I think Chandler can keep that pace for 3 rounds, I think he wins by decision. But if Chandler loses, I would say it's because Hooker figures out a way to finish him or hurt him pretty bad, right? Like, but honestly, I don't know. Because the thing is, I never consumed a lot of Bellator. I didn't think Chandler was ever even going to come to the UFC. We're going to see. I don't know. That's my read. I don't have a prediction. It's 50-50. I just have if Hooker wins, it'll probably look like this. And if Chandler wins, it'll either be, like I said, a grindy kind of, okay, he worked and win. Or very, very fast, like Uriah Faber versus Ricky Simone. Like, what the fuck type of win. But,
no, it's...
Yeah, go ahead.
No, it's funny because your reception kind of swaying me to Hooker a little bit. Again, like I said, this fight, man, I kind of don't know how to read it, to be honest with you, man.
Yeah,
like none of these guys have like none of these guys have like a standout skill in an area where a guy is weak. Like if like one of these guys was like an elite range kicker, I'd be like, I'm sorry, if like Chandler was like an elite range kicker, I'd be like, he'll kill Hooker. Or like if Hooker was could pressure behind his jab, and he is rock solid, but he doesn't really pressure behind his jab too much. I'd be like, I think he's gonna beat up Chandler. But man, I think these guys are like weak in the areas that the other guy's successful in. And then, yeah. No, I think the fight will be very good though. Both of these guys are very entertaining fighters. I'm gonna stay with my Chandler pick. Screw it. I think he'll cause.
Yeah.
I think he'll cause him exchanges. I think he'll land the bigger shots. I think he'll wrestle a little bit. I think he'll tire Hooker out with him. Create a heavy pace. He'll work the body a little bit as well, Chandler, to make things easier for him. And yeah, I think I have Chandler win this fight. Decision, good fight, pretty brutal fight, nice fight.
Well, now we can move on to the Arman Tsarukyan versus Nasrat Haqparast.
So we're not really covering much of any of the fights. I want Joanne to beat this guy. It might not happen, but whatever. And Reba, she's cool. But yeah, so Nasrat Hapras and Arman Saryukin. This is a good fight, man.
That's really good. Yeah.
Arman, you go first. I want to hear what you have.
I don't know. The thing is, Arman's only fought 3 times in the UFC. Both of them were. I mean, all of them are good performances. His worst performance. It's not the Islam Makhachev fight. That was a close fight. That was a good fight. His worst performance was against Alban Mercier, whatever his name is. Where even though he looked really good, he won it. You know, he wasn't able to. I remember him being like working really hard against the fence to get the takedown and like taking a while, but just like kind of grinding him out. How good is Nasrat's? I don't know. I don't know a lot about Nasrat Haqparast like grappling. How good is he when he gets put like shot on and taken down? Do you think he'll? I don't know.
Nasrat has looked like a more than respectable grappler in my opinion.
He goes to TriStar and they grapple a lot there.
No, yes, he hasn't grappled very much. He did lose to Marcin Held.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, I will say he's looked reasonable as a top control guy. It's not like I've seen him grapple and be like he's trash.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that's going to factor much into this fight because if you saw when Arman got taken down by Islam, he was using active butterfly hooks and things like that to get up. He's really an active bottom player where he just kind of stands up pretty. You know, he uses things to stand up.
No, yeah. I think the grappling edge is to me pretty clearly for Arman. But Nasrat's not bad as a grappler, but I think Arman is a much better grappler.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know enough about what Arman's like. What his system is. You know what I'm saying? To see because like in the fight against Davi Ramos, he like circled a bunch, threw lots of kicks, and kind of ran into would charge into combinations and stuff. Whereas in the fight with Alban Mercier, I actually remember him like. I don't remember. It was so long ago. I remember him actually trying for a lot more takedowns. That could be because the conventional wisdom is not to take down Davi, even though he did, but it wasn't like it was like a reactive thing. It was like he was working the strike and then he'd shoot a double out in the open. It wasn't like a press him against the cage, constantly work for the mat return type of thing. So it's hard for me to give a prediction. Honestly, I don't know. What do you think?
This is your second fight. You have to make something of mine before I myself give my prediction. You can't go 2 fights without a prediction.
Arman Sarukian by finish, second round.
Okay. Okay, no, that's cool. My read on this fight, okay? Arman has very little sample size in terms of UFC performances. They're both super young, which is really nice. I think Arman's like 24, and then Nasrat's I think 25.
He's not.
Yeah, they're both really young. They'll be fighting forever.
Yeah.
But no, yes. So I have obviously a lot more like footage of Nasrat. Even though Arman's had some good fights, he's shown to me like a more well-rounded skill set and has himself a lot of fights against good grapplers. I kind of feel like Nasrat is going to pressure him and kind of force exchanges that I don't think Arman can really handle at this moment. Because for those of you who don't know, Nasrat's basically like an RDA Gastelum combination, like as a fighter.
He looks like him too. Like Jack Side calls him.
He looks just like Gastelum.
Jack Side calls him a halal Kevin Gastelum.
Yeah, Nasrat's like a Gastelum RDA type fighter, and Nasrat's like he's a heavy grappler, but he's kind of like he's kind of weird. Okay, he's a consistent grappler. He's like Khabib, I guess. Well, no, I can't say
that. Who? Nasrat?
Yeah, no, not Nasrat. I'm talking about Arman.
He has a better open space shot than Khabib.
Yeah. Well, okay. Nasrat's like a very good, consistent grappler who can grapple from top and bottom, and is a super rangy kicker, like a traditional martial artist.
Oh, really? Okay.
But so I think Nasrat's going to be kind of steadfast in his pressure and pressure pressure Arman down and put shots on him. And I don't really see Arman having too much success off of his shots. I think he can wrestle Nasrat. I really think he can. But I don't really see it being consistent enough to win rounds or cause consistent damage. My opinion. And I kind of think Nasrat's going to create a lot of exchanges that Arman really isn't ready for in the face.
Yeah.
Again, I see Arman's point though. I can see Arman taking Nasrat down off exchanges and kind of just controlling him, or just kind of pelting him at a range with kicks.
Nasrat, maybe. I think he can deal with that though. I think Nasrat can deal with that.
I really do. I think he can as well. Yes. I think he's going to be kind of a rough fight for Arman, to be honest with you. I don't think he'll be able to get his game flowing.
Mhm.
Again, I haven't seen much from him, and he's still really young. He could grow and like show up kind of.
I honestly just I don't know either. You just asked me to make a pick, so I picked the guy I wanted to win.
No, I'm
Yeah.
forcing somebody.
Yeah.
So my opinion, I have Nasser by decision.
Mhm.
I think it's gonna be a very good fight. This fight is important though because both these guys, for one, are just good right now.
Mhm.
But they're gonna be kind of in the future. They're gonna be just staple top 10 guys in the division.
Yeah.
These guys are gonna be guys, in my opinion, who are just there, consistent guys, if not title challengers. In the future, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
These guys are very good now. This fight's a very important fight for the future.
Agreed. 100%.
And that's about that for the card. Shoeface and Brad Tavares is a good fight. I think Shoeface is gonna win it.
It's okay. It's just
Julian,
it's
tell
the
me what I'm
fight.
gonna say about her. And well, I'll talk about Khalil Rountree just a little bit, just because like I just feel like doing it.
Yeah, sure.
I like Khalil Rountree. I want to see him do well. I don't think he'll ever do well. I remember when he fought. Who did he? When he fought Eric Anders.
Yeah.
One of my friends, my fighter friend Cameron, he was like, "Dude, Khalil Rountree's looking so good, man. You think he can be like an actual contender in light heavyweight?" I was like, "Nah, bro. I know he looks good in this fight, bro. You just cannot grapple."
Yeah. And then Ion Kutalaba just came and murked him, and then everyone was joking like he went to Thailand for his Muay Thai, and I was going to Dagestan for his wrestling.
Like I like Khalil Rountree. I want to see him do well. I really, really, really do. He's fighting Marcin Prokhnio, and I've heard that name a lot. I literally can't remember like his fights. Let me just look at his Wikipedia. Okay. This guy's been KO'd 3 times in a row. By Sam Alvey. Magomed Ankalaev.
I know he fought Magomed. He got kicked with a head kick. Mike Rodriguez. Right? Head kick, Ankalaev.
And then he lost to Alexander Rakic way back in the day as well. So
didn't Ankalaev was the one who head kicked this guy, right?
Yes.
Okay. And didn't Roundtree also fight Sam Alvey, or am I just making that up?
I don't think so.
I might be totally tripping.
I don't think so at all. Maybe the prospect he lost to was Johnny Walker.
Oh, right, and that was when he was like, "I'm going to Thailand."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, that is a very bad loss. Now looking back at it, goodness gracious.
Johnny Walker.
Yeah.
Walker's bad. Yeah, everyone was like, "This guy's the next big thing," and I was like, "Well, we'll see." No.
Even then, man. Like again, talking about meme KOs and like having knockout power, man. First of all, I knew Johnny Walker was not good because he's a light heavyweight. It's just factual. But no. Second of all, I'm like, you guys, he's finishing fights in like 2 seconds. You don't know how good he is. You just know he hits hard. He's big.
And he can jump up and down. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like somebody's gonna be able to survive and fight him.
Yeah.
And then you'll see how good he is. And like as you can clearly see, in his last 3 fights, even though he won his last one, he just looked garbage. You know what I mean?
That last fight was a coin flip, and whether Ryan Spann went out first or Johnny Walker was just up in the air. Like they both got hit so many times, and then he threw like 50 elbow. Yeah, it was bad.
You know what I mean?
He's trash. Yeah.
He hasn't shown any skills yet. You know what I mean? No. Like just because he can meme KO people and finish them in like 27 seconds, it doesn't mean that he's a
weight class where everyone hits hard. I mean,
yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If he can catch these guys out, when they're not ready, it doesn't mean that he's a good fighter.
If he catches Misha Serkinov out too, who's like ancient, he's not ancient, but he's been honestly, he's not even as old as I thought. But Misha's not that good.
Like Misha's just he's really just a grappler, to be honest with you.
Justin
and he just came out there and just blitzed him.
Okay, yeah, 9-4. I mean, it says everything he needs to tell you. I mean, whatever.
No, yeah. So like, that's a bad loss. That's a bad loss for Khalil Rountree. Again, I think Khalil Rountree's gonna knock out this guy. He should.
Jesus.
He should. I like Khalil Rountree. I want to see him do well, pretty much.
Agreed. Let's see. All right, I think that's it for this card. This was a longer episode. We're okay with that though, because we had a lot to cover. We had a lot to say. It was a great card we had. Just experience as a one fight we are kind of okay with talking about for this Wednesday, and then the big McGregor return, which to be honest with you, the one I'm most excited to see is this Arman Tsarukyan versus Hack Press. Just because like with the Hooker, what's his name, Chandler fight. I mean, it neither of those guys are ever gonna win the title. Like Hooker is like he's like he has hard fights with guys like the redhead Paul Felder, and then loses to Edson Barboza. You know what I mean? Like. Like he's not like he can't like adapt himself super well. You know what I mean? Like I don't think Michael Chandler's ever beaten anybody in the top 3. You know what I mean? I kind of think I know how McGregor, what's his name's gonna go. This is like a prospect fight between Nesrat and Arman, and it's like just exciting, like to see what happens if these guys have it. So that to me is like the hidden gem of this card. So yeah, that's what we had to talk about. Thanks for coming. Like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, all of that great stuff. Thank you all for coming. Peace out.